Hey YouTube, Leo here again with another reaction video, and today we're going to be reacting to the latest Death Battle episode, Cell versus Metal Sonic. Now, for any of those that have been watching my Something About series from the MASH channel with regards to Sonic the Hedgehog, you know I'm not the biggest Sonic the Hedgehog fan, so I don't really know what Metal Sonic can do, but I'm definitely a Dragon Ball Z fan, so I the only person I can realistically go with is going to be Cell in this fight. I have no idea, but let's just go ahead and jump into it and see what Death Battle is cooking with today.
Fight!
All right.
Cell versus Metal Sonic.
Which copycat android is truly the superior model?
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Yeah,
There's a monster stalking.
I don't know. I know the Sonic verse is pretty broken. I have no idea how this is gonna go.
No one who's seen it has lived to tell the tale. All it left behind was their clothes. Something ate these people's insides, leaving only a shadow behind.
Some kind of creature driven only by the need to feed. Earth's new apex predator, the ultimate life form.
The Namekian Piccolo went to investigate this manslayer and
Wow, they're
discovered
giving
that
us
it
the
was
whole backstory of Cell here, aren't they?
Its tail could unravel to absorb its hapless victims and add their energy to its wretched gestalt.
But the nightmare was only just beginning, because for its last trick, somehow this freak of nature knew the Kamehameha.
The mystery.
Okay, is that really that impressive though? It seems like quite a few of the Z fighters know the Kamehameha, and like it's just an attack at the end of the day, right? Like I feel like you can learn it. You just need to, I don't know.
This creature's origin was decades in the making. Years ago, the world was terrorized by the most advanced paramilitary organization in history, the Red Ribbon Army.
Until they got rocked by this little kung fu gremlin,
General Tao.
Son Goku.
But Red Ribbon's dream of revenge lived on within their head scientist, Dr. Gero.
Hiding away in his spooky cave laboratory, Gero would go to work studying the Z fighters from afar, learning everything there was to know about
Where did
them.
he get the funding
Building
for
a series
this?
of androids that would destroy his spiky-haired nemesis once and for all.
He made a ton of them. Infinite energy androids, key absorbing androids, trucker head androids, and even ginger androids.
However,
I know, the
none
most
of
evil of
Gero's
them all.
creations were capable of matching that drive to improve that Goku and his fellow martial artists possessed.
Luckily, he had one more android left. A cute little booger so complex he'd take years after Gero's death to complete. Its name was Cell.
Born from a single cell, get it? This
All right, hold on. Let's see here. Creator, Dr. Gero. Bio android, DNA composition, Earthling Science. Yep. Created to avenge the Red Ribbon Army. Extremely annoying to draw. Okay. Likes tournaments. He tapped Kermit the Frog. Yep. Okay. So I'm glad that they're calling shout outs
android
to
possessed
that.
the genetic information of all the greatest warriors that had battled on Earth, and when fully evolved, would become unstoppable.
And with their DNA, Cell absorbed all their powers and techniques too.
Common among all of them is the power to manipulate Ki, or the energy that exists in all living things, and weaponize it to fire energy blasts, fly at faster than light speeds, move things with telekinesis, and create force fields.
From the humans, Krillin and Tien, Cell knows the multiform technique, Destructo Disc, and the Tri-Beam, his extra special favorite. Oh,
Yep.
weird, I'm not seeing Chaozu on this list. Sorry, bud.
Is Chaozu human?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what
Cell
Chaozu
can
is.
fire the Death Beam, as well as breathe in and travel through the vacuum of space with the alien genes of Frieza and his father.
and because he's got Piccolo's DNA, Cell can regenerate humongous damage to
Okay, this always bothered me, right? Like the way that Cell can regenerate is leagues above what Piccolo can do. And so that's like the only inconsistency that always kind of bothered me. Like Cell really leaned on his regen as a crutch for a lot. But like the Namekians can't regenerate that much. Like I don't know.
his body at the cost of some keys.
Cell
He just
has
had plot
survived
armor for a
having
while.
Half his body vaporized multiple times and cannot be destroyed unless the small cluster of cell
There's a small cluster of cells in my head. It makes up my core. Destroyed my butt. Okay, but see, there's okay. So funny enough, that they just showed it.
His
Hold
body
on.
vaporized multiple times.
Right here, because there is a scene where he had the top half of his body destroyed, and he regenerated from this lower half. So if that cluster is in his head, like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any
Cannot
sense.
be destroyed unless the small cluster of cells at the core of his being is
Because he
eradicated.
regenerated from the
Little fucker
waist up.
survived, Cell will always return, even stronger than before, because of the Saiyan DNA he got from Goku and Vegeta. Definitely the cream of the genetic crop.
Sure, he can perfectly replicate attacks
What's all this? Sure, just his attack.
like the Gallic Gun, Spirit Bomb, and of course Kamehameha, as well as teleport by locking onto a living being's key signature.
But the best part of being a Saiyan is how much crazy stronger they get every time they almost die.
They can even evolve to become orders of magnitude stronger in the midst of battle. Combine that with Cell's healing factor, and he is effectively the ultimate warrior.
Like a perpetual shonen motion machine.
Driven by a biological imperative, Cell wanted nothing more than to devour Giro's previous androids, 17 and 18, believing it would make him perfect.
Only one problem. The Cell we know was born in the future, and both 17 and 18 had been destroyed. So he murdered Trunks and went back in time. Not our Trunks, future Trunks. Well, not future Trunks, but another future Trunks. It's very complicated. There's
Yeah,
like 5
timelines get
timelines.
crazy.
As Cell defeated and absorbed the androids, he evolved. Not
Okay, Laurel staying perfect, super perfect, perfect cell. Oh, semi-perfect. They're super.
only getting
Anyhow.
stronger, but changing his personality and developing a lust for battle.
He became less creepy bug serial killer and more, well, Saiyan. After exploiting that very Saiyan arrogance and warrior's pride, Cell finally became perfect.
And easily dominated Trunks and Vegeta, the latter of whom had decades of battle experience under his belt.
Perfect Cell's power was off the charts. He could threaten the whole Earth just by powering up. With a full power Kamehameha, he was even capable of destroying our entire solar
Is that true? I believe it. The DBZ verse gets extremely powerful,
system.
but I wasn't aware that
Vast
Cell
majority
could
of our
wipe the whole solar
system's
system.
mass is located in the sun. This still means that Cell's key wave would have to reach 2.8 billion miles to eradicate every planet.
But Wiz, maybe he was just exaggerating.
Not likely. Cell's claim has been backed up in multiple guidebooks and even demonstrated outright in the video games.
Cell's even stronger in the anime adaptation, considering the time Frieza blew up Namek. In the anime, the explosion was literally hundreds of light years wide and lit up the friggin' galaxy.
And Cell
Okay.
was far stronger than Frieza was at that point in time.
Hell, the Namekians could sense him all the way from a different galaxy and thought he
Yeah,
might be a
that's pretty
threat to the
insane.
whole universe.
He's also incredibly fast.
Okay, let's see here. Can destroy the solar system, tank currents, destructible disc, right planet says compared to the Supreme Demon King Deborah. Was Deborah that power? I guess yeah, Deborah comes after, huh? Defeated Piccolo, briefly contended with the almighty Hercules. So yeah, you know what? That's the real.
Capable of
Show
blitzing
strength right
even
there.
the strongest Z fighters at the time. Goku flew from Grand Kai's
See,
planet
me
in
personally,
heaven
I knew
all the way
Hercule
to
was gonna be
hell,
able to save all
hundreds
the
of
others.
billions of light years in half a minute. And that was in his base form.
Yeah, that's cool, but how about the power to squeeze Mini Cell Juniors out of your butt? What? Never heard of that key technique? Call it the Kegel.
Perfect Cell was entirely within
Yeah, whose power was that? Whose power was it to make a bunch of mini me's? Can we talk about that? I don't know. The Cell, like, I've never had a problem with Cell. I've never had a problem with Dragon Ball Z, but now having to look at this like somewhat objectively, I have questions. All right.
out Pier and, no longer wedded to Giro's petty grudge, decided to prove it with a tournament.
The Cell Games! And if Goku couldn't even beat him, what hope did anyone else have? Vegeta couldn't even handle a Cell Jr.
Their last hope was Goku's own son, Gohan.
After Cell arrogantly let him power up,
The only time Gohan was
unleashed his
cool.
rage, pushed the bug monster to his absolute limits.
That's not
and
true.
Beat him. Wow, Cell, you really are related to Vegeta, aren't you?
In truth, Cell was a victim of his own success. The same Saiyan genes that made him all-powerful also sowed the seeds of his defeat.
He got so mad he even blew himself up. Maybe he does have some Chaozu in him after all.
Even that wasn't enough to totally put him down, and he came back with the same Super Saiyan power-up that Gohan had just unlocked.
Super perfect Cell. Now with more lightning, in a battle for the ages, Cell put the entire weight of his biological programming against one lone Saiyan and went the distance.
But in the end, it still wasn't enough. No matter how brilliantly Dr. Gero copied the Z-Fighters, he still couldn't quite figure out their knack for going beyond.
What can be destroyed can always be rebuilt. All it takes to recreate the most fearsome warrior in the universe is one single Cell.
All right.
Hey, real quick, did you know Death Metal launched our own tabletop gaming channel? It's called
No.
The Nightly Brew. We're doing Dungeons and Dragons, Blood on the Clock Tower, and a bunch of other stuff. I'd love if you could check it out. We just finished our campaign through the old school Tomb of Horrors, the most infamous dungeon in D&D history. Here's a clip. You
Tomb of
quadruple
Horrors.
in size and bump into
Okay.
multiple of the columns. There's no way you can fit in this room without touching columns. So you begin floating up.
This is my
into
last
the air
character.
as giant balloon soot drifts closer to the demon face. God. When he gets just a couple feet away from the mouth,
Yeah,
soot
I don't.
disappears.
Again, I want to get into D&D.
You were
I
like, oh, this
like the
dungeon's
idea of
terrible.
it.
It's the most like everything.
I
we
did
done
watch
is
the
hardest
new-
thing. And I
well,
was
you know,
like,
I'm not gonna
"Please
say
not
after this
these
episode,
other
but,
sessions." And then we hit this fucking room, and I am at my limit. I hate this with all of my being.
All right, cool. I guess check that out if that's something you're interested in.
Time and again, the world and its cuddly forest critters were threatened by the evil and oval Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik.
And time and again, that same world and those same critters were saved by Sonic the Hedgehog. No matter how many robotic badniks the good doctor threw at his blue spiky nemesis, his schemes were always 6 spin jumps to the glowing weak spot away from getting cracked and scrambled.
But it wouldn't be over easy for Eggman. If he couldn't defeat the Blue Blur, he would make his own, Metal Sonic.
Well, 0 points on creativity for that name, but
Right.
damn, he does look metal as hell.
They say imitation is the sincerest
All right, let's see here. Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik, Alias, Hyper Metal Sonic, Metal Overlord, Metallics. Okay. Likes destroying Sonic, Breeze, hates Sonic. Okay, all right, cool.
form of flattery.
Seems pretty
Eggman
simple.
built Metal with more than enough blast processing to match his prototype.
Metal can zoom around at massively hypersonic speeds, fast enough to fly to nearby planets in seconds.
He's tougher than Eggman's standard equipment, some of which can survive black holes.
Metal can use all of Sonic's power-ups and even replicate his classic spin dash and light speed attack.
But he's got moves of his own.
He can attack with energy blast, fire a chest laser, surround himself in an electric aura, or an
All right.
impenetrable force field.
By overloading his circuitry with energy, Metal can activate V Maximum Overdrive, quadrupling his acceleration and obliterating any.
Hold on, do I need to read that?
Metal
I don't
can
know if I
activate
need- okay.
V Maximum Overdrive, quadrupling
But moreover, his rate of acceleration is 4 times higher when his circuitry is overloaded. All right, that's not a good thing.
his acceleration and obliterating anything in his path, at the risk of self-destructing.
You'd think all that'd be enough to turn the rodent into roadkill, but it only took one showdown on Stardust Speedway to send Metal to the scrap heap.
On paper, Metal should be able to outmatch Sonic in every way, and yet he doesn't. For some reason, Eggman wasn't able to capture that ineffable quality that makes Sonic the fastest thing alive. Metal's defeats at the hands of Sonic and his friends sharpened his AI into a seething hatred of his rival and a burning desire to prove himself superior.
Yeah, well, when you're getting your supersized red ass handed to you by Charmy B, you know something's gone
Okay.
horribly wrong.
Metal's defeats gave him an existential crisis. If he was created to surpass Sonic and couldn't even manage that, what was he? Why should he exist?
Never one to admit defeat,
What is
Eggman
my
took Metal
purpose?
back to the drawing board and birthed him anew. You.
This Neo Metal Sonic was, above all, far smarter
Uh, Okay, sure, whatever.
Especially after he copied
Yeah, I'm not
Eggman's
reading all that.
intelligence and took over his empire. And we mean literally copied. If Metal started as Sonic's copycat, why not hunt all of his furry friends down and copy them too?
Neo Metal Sonic is equipped with scanners in his optic receptors that can
Okay, these are all just attacks, right? Power-ups, chaos control. Yeah, because when they start bringing in like the chaos emeralds and everything like that, like again, I know the Sonic verse gets really, really busted. I just don't know enough about it to say like what their like max limits are, right? To me, it's kind of almost like a Sailor Moon thing. Everyone always writes off Sailor Moon as just like, haha, you know, magical girl. But like, if you know about Sailor Moon, she is busted. Like she is, you know, universe destroying level easy. So I don't know if Sonic's in the same kind of realm where they just get so crazy overpowered that, you know, again, I just don't know.
copy a person's biodata, giving him the ability to recreate all of their abilities in seconds.
Like the Sonic Boom, Knuckles' Hammer Punch, Tails' magical swiveling asshole, and Big's ability to suck at fishing.
Metal
What
isn't
was
just
that about,
learning
Tails?
their moves. He can replicate more esoteric powers like silver psychokinesis, manufacture Rouge's mechanical bat guards, or alter his very biology to copy Espio's chameleon invisibility. It's worth mentioning that biological data is a real scientific term and can refer to molecular structures like the genome sequence within a living organism's DNA.
Yeah, his copying is so busted, it doesn't really matter that he's a robot made of metal. If you can do it, so can he. Probably helps that he can shapeshift and regenerate his whole body from a puddle.
Oh,
Likely
wow,
by
okay,
copying one of the
T1000 over
mightiest
here.
beings on the planet, the god of destruction, Chaos.
Not the only chaos he's encountered.
By scanning the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog, he gained his ability to manipulate some of the most powerful artifacts in the universe.
You mean the Chaos Emeralds?
Yes, the emeralds contain an infinite wellspring of mystical power and life energy. With them, Metal can perform Shadow's chaos control. He can teleport, warp, and distort space, boost his speed, and stop time. And with either the
All
Chaos
right.
Emeralds or Master Emerald, he can transform into Super Neo Metal Sonic.
Completely
Okay.
invulnerable and
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, so we have Metal Sonic, Giga Metal Sonic, Neo Metal Sonic, Metal Overlord, Master Overlord, Super Neo Metal Sonic. That is too many names. That is too many titles. Pick one.
completely golden. Super Neo Metal Sonic can move at faster than light speeds and has the power to move continents.
The emeralds are inconceivably powerful. They've been used to fuel Eggman's Death Egg, which could obliterate star systems.
On their own, they can even create and destroy whole universes.
Other super characters like Sonic have battled and defeated beings like the Time Eater, who could destroy multiple dimensions and timelines in seconds. At their
Okay,
peak,
yeah,
3
so-
Super Hedgehogs have even fought Solaris, who nearly consumed Sonic's entire multiverse.
So Super Neo Metal Sonic should be just as powerful as any of them. Though he's gotta be quick, because all that power only lasts a short time.
The road to total domination was nearly at an end. After manipulating Sonic and friends and copying their abilities, Metal eventually combined their biodata with the mighty Egg Fleet and became Metal Overlord.
Complete with
Alright.
missiles, giant crystal projectiles, and the strength to match 3 supersonic heroes all by himself, Overlord is all-time final boss material.
And he knew it. His ego might as well
Oh god. Okay. Usurped control of the Eggman Empire, can keep up with Sonic the Hedgehog, flew from Little Planet to Earth in seconds. Don't know where Little Planet is. Harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Okay, so yeah, it sounds to me like Metal Sonic's just
had
busted.
its own health bar. Metal's drive to surpass his rival had morphed into the delusional belief that he was the original and Sonic the loathsome copy.
A copy that
Okay.
Metal had finally outclassed. All the heroes Metal had gathered had to team up to take him down.
He may have stolen their abilities, but Metal never possessed the thing that made the Sonic heroes successful: their friendship and teamwork.
Aw, how cute! Gag. Probably should have added some of those goddamn rails to the final boss fight, because it is impossible to land on those things. Ahem. After getting trashed again, Eggman reprogrammed Metal to purge any bits of rebelliousness from his code.
Metal returned to being the Eggman Army's chief enforcer, always proving invaluable as the Bad Doctor's greatest creation, now completely obedient once again.
I don't know, Wiz. Who knows what's really going on behind those glowing red eyes? Maybe Metal is more cunning than he lets on. And is only
Yeah,
biding
I
his
wouldn't
time
trust that.
until he can take over again.
Maybe the most powerful thing that Metal copied was the ability to lie.
Okay, that was kind of cool.
Hey, I'm Chad, the voice of Boomstick. And if you don't believe me,
I
well,
don't.
what about now? That's what I thought.
Hold on, that man got a box of 151 back there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Look, the matchup is about to begin, and we can't wait for you to see it. But first, I want to tell you about a brand new thing coming to the Death Battle store, and it's something you guys have been asking for. Matchup pitches. It's a way to meet with me and Ben, the creators of Death Battle, and pitch us a matchup that you've been wanting to see. Any matchup, any way you like. We'd love to hear from you. This was originally a Kickstarter reward, but due to popular demand, we wanted to keep it going. A lot of episodes of Death Battle that are currently being worked on are because of a pitch. So we want to give each pitch the time it needs, so quantity is limited, so you better act quick. Death Battle pitches are available right now on deathbattle.gg. That's our website that's like a Patreon mixed with some other stuff. And if you're a website member, you get discounts on all of our merch, including the pitch calls. While you're there, make sure you check out the Death Battle Retro Tee. It's a shirt we made like over a decade ago. The first
That sure
Death
does
Battle
look kinda
shirt,
cool.
I found the file and recreated it, only on a much nicer shirt. So check that out while you're there. Anyway, let's get to the fight. I know you want to see it, and Boomstick wants to see one of these copycats get copy-capped. So here we go, and remember, deathbattle.gg. We want to hear your pitches. Thanks.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
All right, who we thinking? I still got my money on Cell, but being 100% realistic, it sounds like Metal Sonic is just busted. So I'm not gonna be surprised. But come on, Cell.
Salutations, Dr. Robotnik. Your reputation precedes you.
Oh wow, the animation on this
Bring me your
one's crazy good.
strongest fighter or face. Then prepare to kneel before your master. Perfect.
I always love how Death Battle does different animation styles for the fights. All right, cool shield.
Tell me, does a machine like yourself ever experience fear? Not anymore.
All right, that was kind of cool. All right, hold on. Okay, that's the Overlord Metal Sonic, right? Just threw him into a plant. Okay, what happened there? That was actually a really cool use of the instant transmission.
Fool, you're dealing with the ultimate life form. I already possess his data. Observe. Chaos! Control. Life form data successfully copied. Scum!
All right.
It'll take more than that to kill me, puppet! I know. Now I know everything about you, insect.
Okay, all right. Oh, here go the Cell Juniors. Again, still very confused on whose power that is.
Don't you dare.
For those of you guys that didn't know, the Team 4-star abridged.
I am not just the greatest warrior in the universe. I am all of them.
Oh?
If you are all of them, And so am I. I'll never lose to a machine like...
Okay, yeah, it definitely seems like the time stopping is what's putting him over the edge here.
I'll crush you.
All right. Can't say I'm surprised.
Now Metal's got all the powers of the Chaos Emeralds and the Z Fighters? Well, that world's fucked. Our bad.
Cell may have been one of the greatest threats in Dragon Ball Z, but Eggman's greatest creation ultimately proved too much for him. Let's break this down into 4 categories: strength, speed, abilities, and adaptation.
First up, who was the strongest? Well, it's no surprise that any version of Cell was gonna be way more powerful than base Metal or Neo. Even just using the manga, blowing up a solar system is far beyond the level of power output Metal can match.
Without his stronger forms. With them, the power gap entirely reversed. Not only could Metal match Cell's solar system busting or scaling from Frieza, but he could surpass it with the universe-destroying power of the Emeralds.
But hang on, Wiz. Those Namekians said that Cell was strong enough to threaten a universe on his own.
They did, but they didn't specify how, and there's nothing suggesting he could destroy it in one go, especially since it's only brought up theoretically and without any time frame.
Even being generous and assuming he could just blow it up, final bosses like Time Eater and Solaris can destroy the wider multiverse.
Okay, what is this Eggman here? I saw it earlier when they were showing this clip. This is nightmare fuel. I don't like anything about what's going on here. Also, I don't know how I feel about them constantly bringing up the Chaos Emeralds, because they definitely seem to be why Metal Sonic won in the end.
And
Yeah.
Super Neo Metal would scale to them. Metal Sonic takes the edge in strength.
And with Sonic characters being known,
Because
for
is
their
it
speed,
him or
I
is it
think
the
that
Chaos
was an easy
Emeralds?
win for Metal.
At his max speed in his super form, he should be comparable to entities like the Time Eater, who in Shadow Generations can destroy entire universes in seconds. By using the radius of the observable universe, we can estimate the Time Eater's destructive wave traveled at about 180 quadrillion times faster than light.
Certainly impressive, but let's compare that to Goku's flight from heaven to hell shortly after the Cell games, which covered roughly a universe in distance at approximately 180 quadrillion times faster than light.
Hey,
Okay.
just like Time Eater. The difference, though, was that Goku was in his base form, way slower than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or Super Perfect Cell.
Factoring in Super Saiyan multipliers, Super Perfect Cell can move upwards of 100 times faster than that, and so 100 times faster than Metal Sonic. Somehow, Cell takes the edge in speed.
Okay,
You
that's
know, the
interesting.
thing Metal was designed for.
Wasn't expecting that. Let's see if any of their abilities could tip the scales.
They shared many of the same powers, like telekinesis, force fields, and energy projectiles. Of note though, Cell's regeneration was clearly superior, able to fully heal from a single cluster of microscopic cells.
On top of that, Cell's Saiyan genes would let him grow in power every time he almost died, and his Cell Juniors gave him the numbers advantage.
And considering Super Neo Metal had a time limit, Cell would have a big advantage in a battle of attrition.
But with Chaos Control, that became a lot tougher.
Cell and his juniors had no way to deal with Metal boosting his speed or stopping time, something that countered Cell's speed advantage and left him open. And with Silver's psychokinesis, or the Emerald spatial distortion, Metal could seriously impair Cell's healing.
So it helped that Cell could fall back on his martial arts abilities in a pinch.
Despite effectively being a newborn, Cell's genetic instincts allowed him to best Earth's most skilled warriors back to back to back.
Metal may have copied Eggman's brains, but he definitely isn't as good of a fighter. The Sonic heroes haven't trained like the Z fighters, and
Yeah,
Metal's been
that's
beaten
true.
by all of them a bunch of times. So all that in mind, abilities is roughly a wash.
Which leaves us with the one thing they're both known for: their capability to evolve and become more powerful in response to their opponents, aka their adaptation.
And frankly, that's where this back and forth completely breaks. Because at the end of the day, Metal can copy Cell, but Cell can't absorb Metal.
Cell's ability to physically absorb an opponent is primarily viable against foes he can match or overpower.
Even if he took Metal by surprise, he can't absorb fully inorganic robots like Android 16.
Cell was only
Oh,
able
I
to
forgot
absorb
about that.
Android 17 and 18 because they were primarily organic.
They're actually more like cyborgs and are only called androids in the English translation.
Metal, on the other hand, can copy a target's biodata through only a few seconds of direct eyesight, something he could easily accomplish during a time stop.
And using it on Cell means he wouldn't just get Cell's powers, but the powers of all of the Z Warriors too.
Remember, Metal's copying applies to abilities that fundamentally affect his own biology, like Espio's invincibility or Chaos's liquid body. Nothing Cell has would be off limits, especially given all of Cell's powers were genetically encoded in the first place, quite literally biodata.
Cell's Saiyan power-ups? Copied. Cell's regeneration? Copied. Cell's key techniques? Believe it or not, copied.
Chaos Emeralds are described as being able to produce life energy, similar to Ki, so there's a precedent for him being
Okay, but again, like they're bringing up the Chaos Emeralds, like it's something that he just always has with him. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about them like leaning so much on the Chaos Emeralds as a crutch. I don't know if they've done that with other death battles where like if they have other Sonic cast members or like Sonic or something like that use the Chaos Emeralds, but I think that's where I have to draw the distinction between their power and, you know, the power of an artifact or a weapon, you know?
able to replicate Cell's power set. And at this point, there's nothing stopping Metal from, say, stopping time and using a Kamehameha to vaporize him at a cellular level, just like Gohan did.
Cell might be able to do anything the Z-Fighters know how to do, but that's not gonna help him, cause Metal can do anything Cell knows how to do. Strange, isn't it?
Cell just doesn't have any options to retaliate that Metal wouldn't also possess, including any of his previous advantages. Metal's copy ability is just that overpowered.
Oh, I guess now I get why they called it Sonic CD.
Why's that?
Cell died.
Okay.
Wiz, you get it?
No.
CD?
Yeah.
Wiz, where you go? Come on back. Next time on Death Battle.
Who they got next time? Oh, can I hide this? Oh, hold on. Is that Reze? No, hold on.
Join as a member.
Okay, hold on. I'm more excited for this than the whole rest of this the whole rest of this video right here. You're gonna put Bakugo versus Reze. All right. First of all, Reze, you know, that's our girl right there. All right. That's if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. All right. Chainsaw Man, the movie, Reze arc. Absolutely, just I can't say enough good things about it. I don't see Bakugo taking that W at all. I'm just gonna let you know right now. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm not gonna spoil things here, but we go with Reze on this channel. All right, that's the end of that. Wow, I really got so sidetracked about this announcement here.
To see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
Okay. Anyhow, unfortunate for Cell. I'm not overly surprised. I know the Sonic verse gets just ridiculous after a while. It is what it is. Pour one out for Cell. When are they coming out with Bakugo versus Reze? That's what I need to know. I need to know when that is dropping. But that's going to be it for this episode. So I'll go ahead and catch you on the next one. Bye.